Hello there. Today we have a fascinating guest with us, Sanjay Kaushik, founder and CEO at Netrika. Welcome, Sanjay. Many of you probably haven't heard of Netrika. Founded in 2013, it's today emerged as one of India's most important forensic and risk advisory services companies. Competing today with the likes of the Big Four and other global international players, they've developed a blue chip roster of clients and are doing some very, very cutting edge work. And we'll hope to deliver some of those insights to you as we go through the conversation today. So, Sanjay, welcome, and it's a pleasure to have you today. We're at the sidelines, of course, of the Limited Partner Summit, where you've had a lot of interactions with investors today as well. So, let me begin by asking you a little bit. I mean, it's been almost a decade, maybe 7-8 years since you started Netrika. What was the point of origin? And tell us a little bit about your story.
Yeah. So, I've been into this industry for 26 years now, and started in 94 when probably when I was not aware what we were doing, just looking for a job, and went to get into some kind of a expertise, and that's where I developed it. Have worked with multiple Indian and international firms prior to Netrika in 2013. Why Netrika? Because we saw that unfortunately there is no Indian company which has come to the level of the client satisfaction. There are Big Fours, and then there are a couple of international firms which are there. But if you look at, and I will like to ask you if you remember any other Indian company name, I think that will be a challenge, and you will take a couple of minutes to even recall, or if you don't even recall. So we said there should be an Indian company, and an Indian company in this field actually truly going global. So even if you look at our taglines, we are saying achieving excellence with global vision. So we wanted to go globally, the first Indian company into the risk advisory to go global. So we have been trying to compete with Big Fours, and there have been challenges which clients have been facing on the Big Four side. So I don't say the bad, ugly, good, but there are some certain challenges.
Sure. And you serve the investment community among many other sets of clients, I'm sure. And of course, these are very demanding clients. We know that as well. So what makes you think that let me ask it this way. What makes Netrika tick? Why would any fund prefer to hire you versus some of the sort of other firms in the business here?
So when a client is demanding, it's what main thing they require is, one, flexibility and customization as per the requirement. That's where the base of Netrika is. We're quite flexible, we customize it as per the client's need, and the service quality, the deliverables are as good as anybody in the industry could provide, which also means that they save on the money. So we're not charging a bomb like multinational companies would charge, and they're not giving the advantage of Indian price sensitive market. We give that with the same kind of delivery which any of the large Big Four or any other multinational company would give.
And from what I can understand, having read about it a little bit, the whole area of due diligence, and especially forensic due diligence, which is a big specialization for you, is a very important, seems to be very fit for the Indian ecosystem, let me say, and I say that with a tinge of regret, really. So, how important is it for the investors to have this kind of input into an investment decision that they may be taking here?
So normally the investors talk about is the business model. They will be looking at what kind of ROI. They'll be doing the legal due diligence. They'll be doing their financial due diligence. We need to go a step back. When an investee company is looking at investment, probably they hire consultants who help them and guide them to prepare their documents, which makes them legally correct, which also makes their financial documents correct. And these are the documents which are given to an investor. They do the due diligence on the same documents. However, there are certain things which are behind the scenes, which forensic due diligence will actually take it out. I was dealing with a client of mine which is a US investor, and we were looking at them very large investment into a steel company. And when we did a due diligence, and we found that the money in that was from a political party, and they immediately backed off, because they knew that the moment the power changes, the government changes, the business will not be there. Company will collapse. So it is very important.
But it's a very important risk that you identified.
So these are the risks which are, and not only these risks, but the risk of fraud, the risk of bribery, the risk of corruption, and another risk which is very pertinent these days is GDPR, IT, or India Data Protection Act. So GDPR or India Data Protection Act, they talk about a penalty of 2% to 4% of your global turnover. So suppose you invest in a company which is not a GDPR compliant, and if you are an European company and you get onto the wrong side of the law of GDPR, your global turnover of penalty of 2% or 4% depending upon certain circumstances, you're liable to pay.
So even if you're an Indian company, as long as you're doing business with Europe,
yes,
this clause would kick in.
Right.
2 to 4% of global revenue.
Global revenue. Wow. So it's a huge risk.
And you also mentioned, so there's of course the Data Protection Act and the Privacy Act is kind of going through Parliament. What are the implications of that?
Indian Data Protection Act is again similar on the lines of GDPR. It is more stringent, whereas GDPR talks about 2 to 4% of global turnover as penalties under certain circumstances and with some turnovers. Indian Data Protection talks about 4% of your turnover directly. It doesn't counter anything. You have to straight away pay 4%.
So you have to be very careful to not be on the wrong side of this law. Wow. That's interesting. So you talked about the risk of politically exposed persons, fraud. I think there's also one hears about people with fake degrees on their resumes. All of these things are over and above the regular legal and financial due diligence pieces, right?
So I think I'll make 2 points here. One, the promoter's background is very important. A lot of time these days the investors put in an early stage where these people have just came out from the college and they say I'm from IIT and this and that, but have you really checked the degrees? Is he actually really from IIT or is just faking his degrees? That's one. Second is the fraud within the company. Whereas the investor and the investee, the promoters, both are busy developing the business. There are some senior folks at the management side you hire and then they siphon off huge amount of money. We did an investigation, the guy was hired for HR, he said okay, there's a lot of pressure on IT, I'll take IT responsibilities, I'll take this responsibility, and within 6 months he had siphoned off around 1 million USD, which is directly hitting into your bottom line. Right. If you are able to save that, that adds up to your bottom line.
No, also reputational risk.
So reputational risk comes, it's definitely much larger than the money or the price you're going to pay for it, and your share prices or your global reputation is probably much higher than what we're looking at here, but smaller things also adds up to your bottom line.
Wow. Let me then ask, the area of due diligence and associated risk services. There's a huge role that technology is kind of playing now, whether you look at sort of big data technology or the emerging area of artificial intelligence and so on. So when you look at Netrika maybe 3 years, 5 years down the line from today, you talked about it going global. How do you see sort of the role of technology in Netrika's evolution in the future? And how do you visualize Netrika therefore maybe 3 to 5 years down the line?
So as I said, 94 when I started and today everything has evolved quite a bit. And the business we are in, it evolves every few years. And technology is playing a very important role. Everybody is talking of AI, everybody is talking of ML. One thing is important, that AI and ML is all about what the data goes on. That's what the machine is going to learn. Right now people are talking about the machine learning, but they're not talking of what the data is fed into the machine. Calculator is a pure science. 2 plus 2 will be always 4. But if in a machine, if I put out of 99, if I put 90 times, 2 plus 2 is equal to 5, machine is going to learn 2 plus 2 is 5. So it is the data which has to be fed in. So we need to be very careful, cautious of what the data machine is taking, what the data is fed in, and that's what the machine is going to talk about. We have been very proactive on the AI and ML side. We've been trying to automate a lot of things. We've been trying to work on the cyber security, because the moment the technology comes in, the frauds will go into the cyber side, the IT things will come in. the investors and the large companies will have to look at their cyber security. So Netrika did around 2 years back, we got CERT-In impaneled. CERT-In is the Government of India initiative known as Cyber Emergency Response Team of Government of India. So we are part of CERT as such, and we are trying to develop our skills and evolve on the cyber security side.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, it's been a fascinating conversation, Sanjay. I think the whole area of forensic due diligence, although not really that well known, is obviously of great importance. And in the Indian ecosystem, you need sort of local capabilities, and I would say also native intelligence and an understanding of how our own society works. So I wish you and Team Netrika the best, and thank you very much for joining us today. It's been a real pleasure interviewing you here.
Thank you. Pleasure.
Cheers.